time for some more car thoughts. I've been thinking about the way that our cosmology, the kind of place we believe this world to be, or this universe to be, I've been thinking about the way that ends up affecting the kind of metaphors that we use for our life, the kind of metaphors we use for what we're doing, and how that ends up really affecting how we decide to do things. There's a big, broad, general metaphor that most of us use for what kind of place this is, where we think in terms of machines and mechanisms. We talk about our body like it's a machine. We talk about the world and the heavens and everything like it's a clock, like it's a machine. It's that kind of metaphor system is really embedded in the language of modernity and the way we talk right now. And what that ends up doing is, when we think in terms of we've got to change something or fix something, that we think of it in terms of repairing things the way you repair a car. We've got a broken part and it affects other parts, and that's how we need to take that part out, right? Replace it with a working part. And interchangeable and replaceable parts is often the way we talk about fixing an institution, fixing a company, fixing things at a school, at a church. We've got to repair the aspect that's broken, or replace the aspect that's broken. Well, whereas the older kind of maybe medieval conception, pre-modern conception, was of the world being an organic whole, an integrated whole, and everything was moved and motivated by what it loved. Right? So you've got the heavens were moved by their love for God, or their love for order, or their love for beauty. They were moved, and so the stars moved across the sky, and that was the way that they thought of things. And then that translated into people being motivated by what they loved, and so Christians and non-Christians alike thought of education in terms of ordering the soul, properly ordering the loves of the soul. And the difference between different groups had to do with what they thought it ought to be ordered towards. If that's the case, when something isn't going right, then what you have to do is look at what is being loved, what is being valued, and how that's affecting the way something works. So an institution that has properly ordered values, properly ordered loves, that loves the things that are best the most, and loves the things that are next best the most, values the things that are best the most. Those institutions function well and run well, and if it's not running well, you fix the loves. It's an organic understanding of things growing out of our desires. And if that's the case, so you can manipulate a machine, right? You can get hold of the mechanisms and manipulate them from the outside, but you can't manipulate loves. You have to actually transform them, which takes time. It involves acknowledging the dignity, the will of the person that you're dealing with. And whereas with a mechanism, so long as it works right, you don't have to replace it, and there's not dignity to the individual, right? So, an Italian political philosopher invented bureaucracy as a way of creating systems with interchangeable parts that any human being could step into and run, because the part itself wasn't important. The dignity of the individual wasn't important. The whole was important as long as it was set up to function like a machine. You put a part in, and it does its job, and the whole runs smoothly. Well, we have taken that metaphor and turned everything into bureaucracies. Our schools are bureaucratic institutions. Our churches are often bureaucratic institutions, especially in America, in larger denominational structures. We've got bureaucratic institutions. We've got even our state and local governments, our federal governments have all become bureaucratic institutions. But it's because we believe we live in the kind of cosmos in which bureaucratic institutions work, and the application of power is what corporate life is about, right? So people come together to multiply their power. Right? You see this with unions and the strikes going on. People come together and they say, we are going to multiply our power by coming together, rather than coming together to become what we were intended to be, or to become the thing that we were created to be, to mature into it, to order our souls, to rightly order our loves. Therefore, or thereby, I guess you'd say, thereby loving our neighbor better. That is, so we don't have those discussions anymore because of that metaphor system being a mechanistic metaphor system. So, and as I've thought about this, I think it's a really important thing to become aware of as we talk through what kind of thing we're doing. So we just had a long conversation at Concordis about what kind of metaphor system are we presenting to schools when we talk about them. How do we talk to a school about what they are doing, what they are as an institution, and trying to develop a metaphor system of an olive tree, that's more of an organic metaphor system, in order to treat the humans like humans that are in the institution. And so, I'm really excited about the future of classical education. I think there's a underground classical movement going on that is going to be world transformative. Right? The same sort of way you've had underground comedy, underground art, underground music that ends up suddenly bursting on the scene and changing everything. I think you've got the same sort of thing going on in classical education right now. But a big part of that is going to be how do we learn to talk about what we're doing, so when it bursts on the national scene, when it becomes a transformative movement in the mainstream, that we're ready to explain what we're doing in terms that transform the whole conversation and going forward, and it doesn't remain sort of a flash in the pan underground movement the way ska was or something, but that it's much more transformative the way hip-hop came from the underground and changed the whole conversation. That's because they showed up with a full-fledged metaphor system and full-fledged culture, full-fledged a way of approaching life that wasn't an add-on but was an alternative. And I think that's going to begin by talking about what it is that a school does, why it is that a school should think in terms of formation of people rather than in terms of creating units of production and consumption for the machine of society, the machine of culture. So those are the car thoughts for today, and let me know what you think down in the comments.